What's up guys, my name is Jellycut5 and welcome to the Chelsea vs Brighton review. Before we do get into this particular video, if you haven't done so already, please like, please subscribe and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. So it was Brighton that came out short on this particular game because it was Chelsea 4, Brighton and Hove Albion 2. What a first half that was, an absolute complex of 6 goals, and that was all she wrote for this particular tie. But it started off very strange. I mean, the first goal was a big mistake from Robert Sanchez, Jorginho Routier getting on for the goals there, and it was a clash of heads between himself and Cucurella. Sanchez completely mistimed the actual ball itself and unfortunately made a big mistake leading up to it. But after that, I feel like it kind of us up, in all fairness. It really gave us some sort of momentum going forward, and I think it was something that we needed because we started the game really slow. Obviously Brighton opened up the scoring in 7 minutes. Didn't take us too long to get on the score sheet with Cole Palmer getting on the goals with 21 minutes played. We did have a goal disallowed before that as well, so we was really knocking on the door and we was really possessing some decent attacking threats. I mean, it was just phenomenal how Palmer was able to do what he did do, in all fairness. A hat-trick in 10 minutes. Obviously winning the penalty after a Sancho getting taken down in the box, and then scoring the free kick was just unbelievable, and then getting a goal just on a stroke of half-time. But Brighton did come back after Robert Sanchez making a massive mistake for the second for Brighton. But it was just such a strange game where both teams made a heap of mistakes, and it seems to be everyone seemed to pounce on them sort of mistakes and actually take their chances in that moment in time. Possession-wise, 41% for Chelsea, 59% to Brighton, 15 shots for both sides there, with more passes for Brighton, 363 for Chelsea, 537. So when you actually look at it statistically, it seems to be that you would think that Brighton actually dominated the game. I would say the first half was pretty even, in all fairness. I feel like the scoreline probably wasn't justifiable for the performance that Brighton did actually put in. They picked up the ball in a deep attacking areas, and Matoma was picking up a ball on the right-hand side a lot for Brighton, in all fairness, giving Gusto some problems, it has to be said. Defensively, we looked like we was trying to make the right decisions, but in the end it just wasn't really working out in our favour. Obviously, the system that Enzo Maresca has got implemented at this moment in time, playing it out from the back, having inverted wing-backs, it's all a system that we're trying to get used to, but at the same time it's definitely an eye-opener to what it could be in the future, that is for certain, and you can see real glimpses of it in the game. But first half we did well to be able to go in at 4-2 up, in all fairness. Cole Palmer, I mean, just what a player. I mean, is there anything that he just can't do? I mean, we've been really looking for this sort of player for many seasons, probably since Hazard left, in all fairness, in that sort of position, and he's really filling in that role. And I mean, he's just breaking record after record. The first player to score 4 Premier League goals in one half. I mean, it's just a phenomenal how many stats he is breaking. But I thought the first half was pretty fair, in all fairness. Both sides had chances, Brighton making mistakes, Chelsea making mistakes, Palmer just on his day, just absolutely phenomenal. Really happy to see Jadon Sancho get in the mix in terms of an assist and winning the penalty at the same time. I mean, I feel like he did really well to be kind of getting stuck in that sort of moment. At the same time, I thought creatively we were really good, and some of the passes that we made were absolutely phenomenal. I was really happy to see some of the moves that we did make. It's just going to Nico Jackson, Jadon Sancho, and obviously the other obviously was a free kick and a penalty. Second half, it died off a little bit. We had more chances in the second half with Nicholas Jackson taking it around the keeper after a really good pass from Cole Palmer overlooping the actual defenders itself. Unfortunately, he couldn't convert on that moment, and Cole Palmer missing a one-on-one opportunity after Caicedo picking up the ball deep in their half. Brighton had some chances of their own, but I feel like it was the case where Enzo Maresca made the right substitutions at the right time and wanted to shut up shop and actually kind of put the pressure off the players that had played for most of the game, and just being able to kind of freshen it up, get some fresh legs on the pitch, get some new ideas on the pitch and kind of solidify the result. I don't mind doing that when we have got a 2-goal advantage. I've always been an envy of that, of when we've only got a 1-goal advantage, but when we look a bit more comfortable having that sort of 2-goal advantage, I definitely can't knock it whatsoever. So an overall, a really good performance, in all fairness, and this is a game that I believe that we would struggle in last season. I know we won against Brighton last season, but with the circumstances, in fairness, we was always poor coming from behind, and that just didn't really show whatsoever. As soon as they scored, it really cheated them up, and I saw a lot of energy today, a lot of chasing the ball down, winning the ball in the final third, being decisive, and just doing what we need to do. And Brighton are not a bad team, and that displayed that today. They can go to any side and get a result. There's no doubt about it whatsoever, and they have done that for the majority of the start of the season. But this time they do come out short, and they do lose their first game of the season. Going into the lineup that Enzo Maresca did have on display today there, as you can see, we played the 4-2-3-1 formation. Sanchez in goal, Cucurella on the left, Gusto on the right, Fofana and Colwill was a centre-back pairing with Enzo and Caicedo in the middle, Sanchez on the left, Noni Madueke on the right, Palmer in the middle, and Nicholas Jackson up top. So let's get into these player ratings then. Robert Sanchez, a 6.3 for myself. As much as Enzo Maresca mentioned in his press conference, he is going to make mistakes with the system that we are playing. It's simply not good enough, in fairness. He had 2 good games against Bournemouth and West Ham, and I thought we turned a corner in terms of kind of not relying on him to just make these sort of mistakes, and he's just done it again, and he was displaying it in the second half as well. He just wasn't learning from it whatsoever. There really needs to be a moment where you just kick the ball. If you feel like you're in doubt and you can't make that pass, just kick it out, and I'd rather lose the ball in the middle of the park or in their sort of half without conceding, without him actually making the mistakes. And only a 6.3 for myself for Robert Sanchez. Marc Cucurella, a 7.0 rating. He actually had a disallowed goal. I forgot to mention there was 3 disallowed goals today. Unbelievable to see that. So the result could have been even further than what it was. But Marc Cucurella, a 7.0 rating. I thought he was solid on his left side. Obviously getting the boost from the Brighton travelling supporters. But he seemed to drown that out, and he put in a really good shift in all fairness, being strong on that left-hand side, winging his duels. He should have been on the goal. Unfortunately, just straight offside on that particular effort. But a really good stuff from Marc Cucurella. So 7.0. And the same goes for Malo Gusto. Really good, happy to see him back in the squad in all fairness. Rapid down that right inside, seems to get himself in good positions to be able to work the inverted role and get some good passes in. Really good in the tackle. Matoma gave him a hard day, it has to be said in all fairness, and he definitely kept up with the pace of Matoma and really got some decent challenges in the first and second half. Wesley Fofana and Levi Colwill, really good performances from the two. 7.0 for Fofana and 7.2 for Colwill. The partnership is really working well, and I thought we saw better things from Fofana than we have done as of recently. Colwill's always been solid for me, and he makes quick decisions, and that's exactly what you want. He was definitely liable for the first goal, it has to be said, but he made up for that with a solid performance throughout the game. Won his duels, got stuck in, and was really kind of trying to go forward as an attacker in that sort of role. I know he's a defender, but really trying to shift the ball forward, and I thought he put in a really good display today. Same for Enzo Fernandez and Moises Caicedo. 7.2 for Enzo and a 7.4 for Moises Caicedo. Thought it was really good in all fairness. The midfield was absolutely controlled. Caicedo nearly getting an assist in the second half after Cole Palmer in after winning the ball deep. I felt like he was solid in the midfield against his former side. Really won his duels. His tackling is absolutely sublime. Worked so hard in that middle to be able to control it. And that's the same for Enzo. He was making some pivotal passes in fairness. Really controls that middle, and that's exactly what we want. The two didn't really work well that last season, so to be able to see it this season and then work a treat is really interesting to see, and it is really refreshing to see also. 6.6 for Jadon Sancho. You could say that's slightly harsh, but I only saw him in the first half and not the second in all fairness. He came off in the 71st minute for Michael Mudryk, but at the same time just didn't really see enough from Jadon in the second half. In the first half he was sublime, winning the penalty, getting the assist, bearing in mind, but second half he just dropped off that little bit more. I would have liked to have seen it a bit more in terms of the creative side and going forward and creating something a bit for himself in the second half. And the same goes for Noni Madueke. He was denied by the post today, but just didn't really offer enough for me in fairness. Came off in the 63rd minute for Pedro Neto. To be honest, after the first goal, he did a lot of running and he did a lot of winning duels at the same time, but I just felt like he lacked that little bit of edge on that right-hand side, but it's definitely coming, it has to be said. He's putting in some cracking performances over the time. He's dropped off slightly after that performance against Wolves, but I can't really knock him, to be honest, because he did a good job, but only a 6.4 for myself from Noni. A 10.0 for Cole Palmer. I mean, what can he not do? I mean, the boy just amazes me every time he plays, and you think you've seen enough, but it just seems to just get better and better and better. I can't knock it whatsoever. I just don't understand how he does it week in, week out. It's just one of those where he just seems to surprise us as fans and just keep it coming, because he's such a joy to watch on the pitch week in, week out. Really, really happy to have him in the squad, and just what a purchase that is from Manchester City. And for Nicholas Jackson, a 6.5 rating. He kept punishing the Brighton's high line and he assisted Palmer's first, don't get me wrong. He's got a very good connection with the teammates and he links up fairly well, it has to be said. He just lacked in that final third. He should have scored when he went round the keeper. I mean, great defensive effort clearing it off the line, again, but at the same time, I thought that should have been in the back of the net. But yeah, I think they kept him quiet, to be honest, the Brighton defence compared to recent weeks. But with keeping him quiet, obviously it allowed for Cole Palmer to do his work. So in fairness, he's done a team job, but only a 6.5 from me for Nicholas Jackson. Going on to the substitutes that were made, Vega, Mudryk, Neto and Cuckoo and Lavia all came onto the field. I thought Neto should have tested Brighton's defence a little bit more, in all fairness. I didn't feel like he was really better going forward. The substitute didn't really seem to work in our favour whatsoever. He tried to press the line, in all fairness, and he did have a lot of energy about himself, just couldn't really get it going. So only a 6.0 for Neto. Mikhailo Mudryk, I don't want to slate him too much, but it's quite clear to see that he's just not our calibre whatsoever, and I feel like it's a player that we might be seeing leaving Chelsea in the coming months. Coming off the bench, I expected a performance, in fairness, because he knows he's not going to start. So if he can make kind of the judgment from Enzo Maresca to kind of switch it up a little bit and actually do something, then it would be nice. But I just saw no effort from Mudryk whatsoever, jogging about, not bothering whatsoever, and thought we could have seen much more from Mudryk when he did come onto the field. Renato Vega, he's just a breath of fresh air. He's such a good signing. Paying absolute peanuts from Basel was just an absolute steal, in all fairness, and he's definitely one of those transfers that goes under the radar, and one of those players that goes under the radar. A 7.0 rating for Renato Vega. He's so solid on that side. Really did some good defensive duels, and he was really good to be able to kind of see out the game, in all fairness, and that's definitely a substitute that I'd like to see more often if he isn't to start the game. And Cuckoo didn't really have enough time. I can't really rate him whatsoever. And same for Romeo Lavia. Got stuck in on a few attempts in the duels in the middle, but it's nice to see him back. But I can't really comment in terms of a rating because he just didn't have enough time on the field. So 3 points for Chelsea. We're staying in the top 4 for now, depending on the results tomorrow. But once again, a good amount of consistency. We go again next Thursday against Ghent in the Europa Conference League, and then we have Nottingham Forest on the Sunday. So the schedule is definitely hyping up, it has to be said, but at the same time, I reckon we've got something cooking here at Stamford Bridge and as a squad, in all fairness, because we look so much better compared to last. The start is really good. I know Pochettino laid the foundations at the end of the last season, but Enzo Maresca's definitely got this team working, and I want some more. So that is it for this particular review. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. Please like and subscribe for more content, and don't forget to hit that notification button so you never miss a video. Cheers.